All right, guys, we are back with another chapter of Matthew, chapter 24, where it says, Jesus teaches on the Mount of Olives. Jesus speaks about the future. And we're jumping right into it. Here we go. As Jesus was leaving the temple grounds, his disciples pointed out to him the various temple buildings. But he responded, "Do you see all these buildings? I tell you the truth. They will be completely demolished. Not one stone will be left on top of another." Later, Jesus sat on the Mount of Olives. His disciples came to him privately and said, "Tell us, when will all this happen? What sign will signal your return and the end of the world?" Jesus told them, "Don't let anyone mislead you. For many will come in my name, claiming I am the Messiah. They will deceive many. And you will hear of wars and threats of wars, but don't panic. Yes, these things must take place, but the end won't follow immediately. Nation will go to war against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in many parts of the world, but all this is only the first of the birth pains, with more to come. Then you will be arrested, persecuted, and killed. You will be hated all over the world because you are my followers, and many will turn away from me, and betray and hate each other. And many false prophets will appear and will deceive many people. Sin will be rampant everywhere, and the love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. And the good news about the kingdom will be preached throughout the whole world, so that all nations will hear it, and then the end will come. The day is coming when you will see what Daniel, the prophet, spoke about, the sacrilegious object that causes desecration standing in the holy place. Reader, pay attention. Then those in Judea must flee to the hills. A person out on the deck of a roof must not go down into the house to pack. A person out in the field must not return even to get a coat. How terrible it will be for pregnant women and for nursing mothers in those days. And pray that your flight will not be in winter or on the Sabbath, for there will be greater anguish than at any time since the world began. And it will never be so great again. In fact, unless that time of calamity is shortened, not a single person will survive. But it will be shortened for the sake of God's chosen ones. Then, if anyone tells you, 'Look, here's the Messiah,' or 'There he is,' don't believe it. For false messiahs and false prophets will rise up and perform great signs and wonders so as to deceive, if possible, even God's chosen ones. See, I have warned you about this ahead of time." Jesus tells about his return. So if someone tells you, "Look, the Messiah is out in the desert," don't bother to go and look. Or, "Look, he is hiding here," don't believe it. For as the lightning flashes in the east and shines to the west, so it will be when the Son of Man comes. Just as the gathering of vultures shows there is a carcass nearby, so these signs indicate that the end is near. Immediately after the anguish of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will give no light, the stars will fall from the sky, and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. And then, at last, the sign that the Son of Man is coming will appear in the heavens, and there will be deep mourning among all the peoples of the earth, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send out his angels with the mighty blast of a trumpet, and they will gather his chosen ones from all over the world, from the farthest ends of the earth and heaven. Now learn a lesson from the fig tree. When its branches bud and its leaves begin to sprout, you know that summer is near. In the same way, when you see all these things, you can know his return is very near, right at the door. I tell you the truth, this generation will not pass from the scene until all these things take place. Heaven and earth will disappear, but my words will never disappear. My words will never disappear. I'm going to read that again. Heaven and earth will disappear, but my words will never disappear. Jesus tells about remaining watchful. However, no one knows the day or hour when these things will happen. Not even the angels in heaven or the Son himself. Only the Father knows. When the Son of Man returns, it will be like it was in Noah's day. In those days before the flood, The people were enjoying banquets and parties and weddings right up to the time Noah entered the boat. Entered his boat. People didn't realize what was going to happen until the flood came and swept them all away. That is the way it will be when the Son of Man comes. 2 men will be working together in the field, one will be taken, the other left. 2 women will be grinding flour at the mill, one will be taken, the other left. So you too must keep watch, for you don't know what day your Lord is coming. Understand this: if a homeowner knew exactly when a burglar was coming, he would keep watch and not permit his house to be broken into. You also must be ready all the time, for the Son of Man will come when least expected. A faithful, sensible servant is one to whom the master can give the responsibility of managing his other household servants and feeding them. If the master returns and finds that the servant has done a good job, there will be a reward. I tell you the truth, the master will put that servant in charge of all he owns. But what if the servant is evil and thinks, my master won't be back for a while, and he begins beating the other servants, partying and getting drunk? The master will return unannounced and unexpected, and he will cut the servant to pieces and assign him a place with the hypocrites. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So one thing that I really like about that passage, and obviously that is the end of chapter 24, I used to be really, really intimidated by reading about the end of times, and it used to fill me with anxiety. And it wasn't until I started reading about the process and how things would happen, and just as I grew in knowledge and I continue to grow in faith, it's more calming. It's more calming to know that, man, when those things happen, it's expectation. I'm not going to be, well, obviously I'll be surprised because he says no man knows the day, time, or hour, and all these things. But man, when they happen, that's promises being fulfilled. Like, it's such good news. Now, it's not good news for those that did the partying and the beating of the servants while master was away. Absolutely not. You know, he says that there will be time for weeping and gnashing of teeth. So in that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth for the hypocrites. I don't want to be a hypocrite. So much so that I'm doing my best to learn to not to be. Now, it's tough. A lot of knee-jerk reactions have tendencies, make it somewhat of living in hypocrisy. I don't want that. I'm trying to train myself out of that. It's difficult being so tied to this world. And I know that's not what I'm supposed to be as a Christian, but like when I see things that are so tangible and in front of me, sometimes I struggle to not want to acquire more things for my own family. And sometimes it's out of selfishness, but sometimes it's in pursuit of love. And I know that while we are here, we are to look to glorify Him and serve others. And sometimes in the serving others, I need to do a better job of discerning between, no, I'm not giving them what they want or need. I'm giving them what I want and what I need out of my own selfishness, my own desire to be great. And sometimes that's not the point. That's not me dying to my own selfishness. And that's tough. That's tough to understand that. It's tough to wrestle with that. And I think when we hear about in the Bible people wrestling with God, I think that that's what it means. I think that they're wrestling not so much with God. You can't win a wrestling match with God, but you can wrestle with His intent for your life. And that's tough. That's tough to understand because that's bigger than you are. How can you wrestle with something that's larger than you? The intention for your own life that you don't even realize. And it's hard. It's hard to understand. And I don't understand. But that's why I continue to keep reading. Because I don't want to be left in the field when I see to be working next to someone in the field and that next person's gone, or to be in the house and my family's gone because I just didn't have enough faith or I didn't love. And again, it comes down to, it's not through your works that'll save you. It's simply by faith and believing and working on that relationship. And so I don't do this to be saved. I do this because I am saved. And I think that's one thing that I had to continue to train in my own thought process. Like even in my own brain, even in my own caveman brain, I get a little choked up thinking about it because that's what I need to be. I don't read this Bible, I don't share it with people to be saved. I do it because I am saved and I want others to be saved. And that is where I'm going to leave this for today. So tomorrow will be chapter 25 in Matthew. It says Jesus tells the parable of the 10 bridesmaids. And I will leave it at that, guys. I love you. Jesus loves you. Have a good night and God bless, guys. We'll do some more reading tomorrow.